This is Kathy Biehl of EmpowermentUnlimited.net with AstroInsight for the week of May 17, 2021. The air feels a little weird these days. Have you noticed? There's a strange sense of time hanging, of suspension. You might be thinking a lot about the Hanged Man in the Tarot if you're at all familiar with that divination system. And whether you are or aren't, there is a sensation of watching events play out, or rather not yet play out. Saturn is slowing into its retrograde station, which officially happens at the beginning of next week. He's putting his foot on the air brake of the wild carnival ride that we have all been enduring for the past few weeks. It'll speed up again soon, don't worry. It's impossible to force anything forward right now. People are distracted. There are delays, obstacles for reasons that are not often made apparent to you. And at the same time, there is increasingly an energy of everything's all right, of Mary Magdalene in the musical Jesus Christ Superstar, singing to Jesus, everything's all right. Jupiter, the most expansive influence in the sky, has slipped into its traditional home of Pisces, where it will stay until mid-July, and then duck back into Aquarius to finish its year in that sign. But for right now, we're getting a taste of next year. We're getting a taste of expanded vistas, expanded vision, optimism. There's a softening of the edges of life, which can be disorienting, as if other things aren't enough already. The combined influence of these two outer planets, which, as you might recall, fused on the December solstice, is driving home that although we are all individuals, we are firmly embedded in the experience of many, many, many other people and beings. We're part of larger communities. We're part of collectives. We are part of, or subject to, or participating with an influence that is not part of conscious, concrete life here on Earth, whether you want to call it connection to God, to your own wisdom, to a sense of love and interconnectedness with nature, and we are family. Don't know, but there is something here that is overriding everything, hanging over everything, and sending down the message of everything's where it should be. It may not make sense. Have faith. Now, a couple of important gear shifts down here on Earth during this week. The first is another contact with the clarifying scythe of Pluto. Pluto is currently the outer planet at the furthest point in a sign, so every time something changes signs, just before it does, it has a contact with Pluto. And this week, the Sun makes a trine to Pluto on the 17th. This is effortless. It simply happens. Your identity may undergo another round of transformation. You may get to the truth more and more of who you are. You may find it easier to experience and proceed in life from your own point of power, which involves being true to yourself. You may strip away, cut away. You may find some aspects of yourself simply going into the dustbin of history. I'm done with this, I'm done with that. Simplifying, clarifying, strengthening, and on the heels of this, something locks into place that has to do with our values, our creativity, our relationships, and our support systems. Venus, who rules our social mode, our values, our money, our creativity. Venus in the chatterbox, multifaceted mode of Gemini also makes a trine to Saturn in Aquarius to put a ring on its Saturn, to stabilizing, structure-loving Saturn. After you get more clear about yourself and present yourself with greater simplicity, and that word again, clarity, the things that are most important to you lock into place more. Watch for recommitments to groups that are important to you, recommitments involving networks of people, online systems, friends who have been doing things together for a long time. Structure, stabilization, commitment, acting responsibly, doing things that are setting up the groundwork for the future, all very much a part of where this is flowing. And on the heels of that, the noise level goes up even more when the sun moves into Gemini on the 20th and then squares Jupiter on the 21st. Jupiter squares simply pump things up into more. We'll be talking, we'll be thinking, we'll be running all over the place, multitasking like crazy, running after shiny objects, maybe, but they aren't shiny objects that are just sort of trivial. We will be running after, thinking about, gathering information about, talking about, sending messages out about the systems, values, networks that we have put in place that have stabilized in the last couple of days. Upshot is some very important developments can come from this feeling of being suspended in time. If nothing else, you will have things coming to your consciousness, important insights, important possibilities, important desires, realization of important connections. And even though it may not yet be time to bring them into being, you're certainly going to be thinking and talking about them. Homing thought of the week. Make it so. Song of the week. I'll Be There For You by the Rembrandts, which was the theme song for the TV series Friends. And the image of the week is a community garden. All this Gemini activity is ruled by the planet Mercury, which will soon be up to some major shenanigans. And that is the topic of the next episode of my Om Times radio program, Celestial Compass, on Monday, May 17, live at 5 and afterwards in the archives. I'm going to be talking about Mercury Madness with Donna Woodwell. It's going to give you a lot of information for the end of the month and into June, so be sure to check it out. Also, you'll find more information in my forecast for the month of May, which is up at my site, empowermentunlimited.net, where you can sign up for my mailing list and book a session with me. I'm Kathy Biehl, a professional astrologer with more than 30 years' experience. I host lively conversation on Facebook at Empowerment Unlimited in the group The AstroInsight Lounge. I have lots of bonus content at patreon.com/Kathy Biehl, and I'm really grateful to the people who are supporting my work there. I post on Instagram at @KABiehl and on YouTube at The Professional Aquarian Channel. Talk to you next week.